Hey, Thanasi!
What's going on, Tony?
Nothing, just getting ready for another exciting episode. Another meeting.
Another exciting edition of The Hidden Agenda.
Yes, have you had a good week?
I've had an excellent week. How are you? How has your week been?
It's been alright. I learnt of a new... Well, so I have a friend.
Yeah.
And they were singing this incomprehensible song about friendship just to themselves.
Yep.
And, it just sounded like they were making this song up as they went along. And I was like, what is this song? What is this twaddle you were talking about?
Yeah.
And the answer was the Golden Girls theme song. Have you ever heard the Golden Girls theme song?
No.
So this...
Well, I mean, maybe, but I can't recall.
It's a strange song.
Yeah.
And I got her to teach me all the lyrics, and I was just in hysterics at how ridiculous this song was.
Yep.
And I want to just recite some of it for you now.
Go on, then.
It goes... Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. Now that's a terrible rhyme.
Yes.
That's confidant and again.
Yeah, it's rhyming a word with itself is traditionally lazy.
No, it's confidant and again.
Oh, there's
That's
just no
the
rhyme. Sorry,
There's no rhyme.
I missed that completely. I thought you said confidant twice.
No, it's just stuff.
Right, so there's no rhyming is what you're telling me.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's even lazier than rhyming a word with itself.
Yes. Just now, I don't need a rhyme here.
Rhyme.
And then it goes on.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew,
Yeah.
well, you would see the biggest gift would be from me. And the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
And they had so many opportunities for rhymes in there as well.
But it's such, to me, that is such a weird song. Because, songs are meant to be all about sort of allegory and metaphor. This one's literally just straight up like...
It's just like, here are some things that are going to happen.
But not even, it's hypothetical. If you had a party...
Actually, here's some things that might happen.
If you had a party and invited everyone... I would give you the biggest present. Now, that I don't think really is a sign of any kind of friendship.
No.
A bag of rice is huge, but that's not a great present to receive.
I mean, yeah, exactly. What's to say that's not just an empty promise, right? It's just like, look, if you have a party, my present will be the best.
Yeah.
Which kind of implies, please don't have a party, right?
So if you had a party, my present would be the best. And the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend. Not the best friend. No.
So I'd buy you the best present, but you're not my best friend.
You're not my best friend. To me, you are just a friend while I'm out here giving you the best present because I must be your best friend.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the Golden Girls theme song.
I mean, it was a simpler time.
It was...
The Golden Girls was 50s, 60s? Or was it even into the 70s?
No, I think it was because Mitch Hurwitz, who created Arrested Development, wrote for the Golden Girls.
So it must have been like 70s, 80s.
Yeah, must have been.
Yeah, because he's not that old.
No.
True.
But there you go. I just thought, I was hearing her sing this song, and I was like, this sounds like something I would have made up. To me, it honestly sounds like a 5-year-old. You sit a 5-year-old down and go, "What does friendship mean? Oh, buying a big present.
Yeah,
that's friendship. Yeah. Can you rhyme something with confidant? No. Good. Yeah.
Do you know what confidant means? No. Didn't think so.
That's the theme song.
But then again, sort of sitcoms, I guess, or those kind of regular TV shows, they kind of went through this period where they were just like achingly wholesome.
Yes.
Like things like the Brady Bunch and they were just kind of like these saccharine, overly wholesome shows.
I really think it was The Simpsons that sort of cut that down.
Sort of cut that off,
yeah.
Because the first season of The Simpsons dealt with like super realistic things, depression and other things, right?
I know a lot of politicians hated The Simpsons because of it was,
Famously, George Bush didn't let his daughters watch The Simpsons.
Wow, he was in an episode as well.
Yeah, yes. I wonder whether that had something to do with it, but that would have been a bit later though.
That would have, yes.
He cited the fact that Homer drank so much beer as the reason he didn't want his daughters to watch the show, apparently.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, shall we kick this meeting off?
I reckon we should.
Let's kick the meeting off.
Interesting little experiment the cold open this week.
Yeah.
The mics are still on.
Yeah.
Just got nothing to say to that.
Hello, Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Hidden Agenda. We are starting the meeting now. We're all here. I mean, have we made quorum? I think we've made quorum. It's just the two of us.
Yeah, I think everyone's here. We don't need a roll call.
I am Tony.
I'm Thanasi. Well, there was a roll call.
There you go. But
we decided 5 minutes before the show today that we're going to try something new.
Yeah, I just wanted to capture the energy of a pre-meeting meeting.
Talking about the Golden Girls.
Yeah. Well, occasionally I come like, that's not a topic. That can't be discussed for 10 minutes, but it's something I want to say.
I mean, ostensibly that was what the other business is for, though, right?
No, I feel like other business should be more for correspondence or...
Correspondence or actually following up on things.
But
I suppose so.
Shooting the crap beforehand.
Yeah, nice. Well, shooting the crap is not a real phrase.
No.
But it is the version of the phrase we can use here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it was nice.
Or shooting the shite, I could say.
Yeah, well, because that's not a swear word,
Well,
right?
as we discussed last week, and may discuss later.
At some point,
yes.
yeah. We do normally, or we have occasionally used the section between the intro and the first topic to do what we did before the intro today.
But that should be kept pure, I think. The meeting should be sacrosanct. And really, all of this should have gone in before the meeting started. We should be on the item one well now.
Well, shall we get straight into it then?
Yes. What is item number one on the agenda?
Item number one on the agenda is going to... I think it'll be a rather simple one. But there's this... Okay, so... A few weeks ago, I participated in an art auction.
Oh.
Right? Yeah.
My opinion of you has just shot up.
I'm glad it has.
It's quite high now. Art auction.
So I participated in an art auction. I submitted a piece to a charity auction.
Wait, hang on. You were the artist?
I was an artist in the auction.
Oh, now my opinion's gone down. No,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Appreciating other art, that is something.
But creating your own art.
Creating your own art. No one gives a stuff
Who
about
does that?
new art anymore. Nah, I'm sorry. It's back down.
All right. Well, in any case, I participated in this art auction. And I realized there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about around this. And initially I had these as two separate topics, but I realized sort of while thinking on it over the last few days that these probably go together. But there's a sort of interesting psychology that consumes any kind of art gallery, art exhibition, but I think rather specifically art auctions or art sales, right? In that I think in the general case, or let's call them the general public even, they have some basic level of appreciation for art and they can look at a piece and tell you whether they find it pleasant or not. But they're not going to get into that whole wanky, wine glass sipping kind of going around pretending to know about art.
This is a post-impressionist piece.
Yeah, exactly. They're not generally going to get into that, except for in a couple of cases. When the artist is there with them, they'll walk up to an artist's piece and they'll just start talking out of their asses. Talking out of their asses. I had people come because I submitted a photograph, right?
Right, okay.
It was my art was a photo. And I had people coming up to me who clearly had no idea about taking a picture. Talking to me about apertures and f-stops, and all these kind of not realizing that those are the same thing, of course. And shutter speeds and all this kind of thing. None of what they were saying made a whole lot of sense. A couple of people accidentally stumbled into something which was kind of vaguely sensical. But for the most part, it was... And I just wanted to pat them on the back and be like, look, I really appreciate you trying to sort of talk on this level. You're making a fool out of yourself. Please just don't.
Right.
Kind of thing. Not because I'm doing it for their good, right? Because I don't care. If someone comes up to me and makes a fool of themselves to me privately, whatever. The only issue they might have is if I go and start telling people. But I'm not the kind of person that's going to do that.
Oh, that's good.
Right? But they do that. But then the other bit of insanity that comes up is the bidding war. As soon as one person who appears to know something about art bids on something, everybody jumps in on that piece.
Right.
And it goes off. And this particular charity auction was at work, right? So we had everybody from, employees right up to C-suite guys, like, CFO and these kind of people who obviously have more money to spend on art, right?
Yes.
And they're also the kind of people you might expect to be into art and to know about art.
Why? Just because you're...
Aha! Exactly, right? Why? Well, because there's a conception that rich people buy art, right?
So there's a...
Or a perception, rather.
Buying art and appreciating art, I don't know if
Are
there's
wildly different things, yes?
I don't know if there's a correlation between the two.
But surely you've met people that conflate the two.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, but that's...
Right.
It
So
shouldn't be.
You can imagine then that the 2 or 3 pieces that the managing director for Australia liked, those were the ones that commanded quite high sums of money. And we're talking into like the mid-hundreds approaching the thousands,
Who was
right?
trying to outbid like the top brass?
I don't know. There were a handful of people that really just wanted the same things that he chose, right? Because there was this idea that because he's a wealthy man, he knows what he's buying. Now, if you ask me, except for one of them, which at least I thought was a beautiful piece of art. The rest of them were just kind of whatever. It was some lines on a canvas, right? I say that as someone who, generally speaking, knows bugger all about art, right? But yet those 3 pieces were the ones that were commanding all this money.
Right. Because some wealthy people wanted it.
Well, yes. And this was the thing, is that I'm sitting here in amazement, watching people completely bypass my picture, right? But I'll get to that in a second, kind of thing. And I had the biggest piece of art there too. Mine was the largest print.
Wow, you would see that the largest piece is from you.
Yes.
And the card attached would say,
well,
thank you for being a friend.
Exactly.
The size of art has nothing to do with anything.
Well, I was going in thinking that, it's just like these people know, broadly speaking, nothing about art, so they'll just pick a big one.
You reckon?
It's a bad assumption, I realised on the day. And incidentally, I was, the cost of the print and the amount I sold it for, never mind that it was for charity and I wasn't going to get that money anyway, but the cost of the print versus the cost of the sale, I lost $30.
Right. So charity would have been better had you just burnt the painting,
yes,
or burnt the picture,
and given that money to charity. I would have done better if I had never printed it and just given that amount of money to the charity.
You're saying the world is worse now because that
the world is worse off for the fact that I decided to try and sell some of my art. Yes,
because that picture is now hanging in someone's house.
Yes,
people are worse off.
Yes,
well done.
The world, the bushfire relief is $30 worse off for the fact that I attempted to sell my picture rather than give them the money I would have spent printing it.
That's funny.
That's funny. Right?
Oh, you're a horrible person.
I'm just the worst. I try to do a good thing.
Giving pieces to charity auctions.
I try to do a good thing and still somehow make the world a worse place.
Well, I mean, that's the road to hell is paved.
It's hard. Good intentions, yeah. It's hard to do, though. It's genuinely hard. It wasn't an expensive print, right?
That reminds me, my dad had a garage sale once, and he had an electric sort of whisker, drink whisker. And
yep.
He bought some batteries for it because it ran out of batteries, and he ended up selling the thing for less than the cost
of the batteries. My favourite one is when you go to, and this is a little bit off topic, but I'll get back in a second, but my favourite one is when you go to a garage sale, and it's generally, these ones are generally held by an older gentleman, sort of mid to late 50s, maybe early 60s, and they're getting rid of records. And you're going through their records, and, you see quite an attractive price on the front. Every record, $2. But then you go through, there's 500 records in the box, 300 of them are Liberace for some reason. That's not worth $2. I'll give you $2 for all of them, right? I'm not paying $2 for a Liberace record. They probably made...
So that's $600 to take all the Liberace off their hands. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, no. Nobody's paying that. They would have printed more Liberace albums than dollar bills in the 1950s and 60s, right? They're literally worthless. And yet it's the same thing. But I have to say, the one good thing about the art exhibition, two things actually. First of all, it was the first time I'd ever presented a piece of my own work for sale. And second of all, regardless of the fact that it cost me money and I did a terrible job for bushfire relief, I'm officially an artist now.
Congratulations!
I'm officially an artist. I've sold art.
You've sold art?
I am, and nobody can argue with me on this, a professional artist.
And no one says that an artist has to profit from their art.
That's exactly right.
It's just
many artists don't on purpose, right?
Do they?
Yes.
Who's doing that on purpose?
Many artists do. Well, they do all these, extremely expensive performance pieces just to prove a point, right?
Aren't they getting, Yeah,
No, we're talking about street artists and stuff, right? The people that do street performance pieces, they collect tips. You know, they have their little dish out to collect tips. But in general, some of these performances, the amount of materials they burn through, they definitely don't make that money back.
You saying street art is a labour of love?
Yes.
I don't think so. For the majority, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think the guy doing the juggling on a unicycle isn't doing it because he just loves that.
I saw an electric unicycle yesterday, now that you said unicycle.
That's brilliant.
Have you seen this?
I've never seen an electric unicycle.
So rather than having the seat, though, it takes almost the form of a skateboard, but with one giant wheel cut through the centre of it.
That's not this. That's
well,
like...
I guess it's not a unicycle, but it's the closest approximation to it.
It's like a cross, I suppose, between a skateboard and a Segway or something like. I think it's got gyros in it to stop you from falling over.
Yeah, but a Segway has two wheels.
Yes.
Yeah, this had one.
Yes.
So imagine you get a skateboard and just cut a hole in the centre of it and mount a wheel there.
But it's still not like the unicycle.
It doesn't
is
have
all
a seat.
on you to stop yourself from falling over.
Yeah. I'm not sure how gyroscoped this thing was, because the guy did not look like he was having a good time. Right? It definitely looked like he was balancing himself, because he was holding a remote. He wasn't driving it with his tilt.
Right.
He was holding a little switch.
Okay.
But anyway.
Interesting.
He was wobbling up the street for sure, though.
Right.
But yes, no.
The point is, you're an artist.
Not only I'm an artist, but I've now firsthand experienced the... Uh-oh.
Okay, so the lights have just gone off.
You'll see this... you'll see this as we're... The lights have gone off.
Are we still broadcasting?
We're still broadcasting. The computers are still here. This has suddenly gotten quite gloomy. You know what's happened?
I think the
lady that was working has probably switched the lights off on her way out.
Is she meant to do that?
Well, I would hope that she's not switching our lights off when she's leaving her office.
I don't know how all this works. The switch... Oh, the lights are back on.
We're back. I was just about to put the theme music on and run out and turn the lights.
Maybe the lady is listening to our show and she realised that she turned our lights off and went, they must be in the building somewhere.
Anyway, that's...
but yeah, art.
Interesting interlude. Art.
My mother,
yes,
does art.
She does.
She does do art. And you were talking about, did anyone crap on your art while you were in the vicinity?
Crap on in a big way? No. A couple of people pointed out some flaws.
Some flaws.
I wouldn't say they went to the extent of crapping on it, though.
Right. Because my mother, because she would often have a piece in an exhibition, and she'd say, "Now don't badmouth anything, because the artist could be standing
in the room.
Yeah.
But these people were talking to me, so they weren't.
Right.
Yeah.
But so we came up with some code, and I'm going to give you the code as well. If you ever want to let someone know, I don't like this art, and the artist may be around, the phrase that me and my mother uses, we go, interesting composition.
Interesting composition. Yeah. Because I do this with photos I don't like.
It's the same one, interesting composition?
Yeah, interesting composition. Yeah, whenever I'm talking to someone about a picture that I don't like, that's usually what I use if it's in a situation where someone might hear me that I don't want to, yeah.
And that means...
Yeah, but surely all artists know this.
Do they?
I would think so. I think it depends a lot on the tone.
I mean, like MC Escher had interesting composition.
But in a good way.
Well, yeah, but that's different.
I have to also, given this, I got to talk back a little bit on this psychology thing, because I've just been reminded of a situation, actually, and I can't believe I didn't think of this as I was dreaming up this topic. But me and my ex-girlfriend, probably about a year ago now, we were invited to see an exhibition of a selection of Van Gogh's pieces, right?
Yes,
or
at the NGV.
Yeah, that one. It was early last year, maybe even late the year before. In any case, we were invited by a law firm, right? So she had some dealings with a law firm in her role, and they invited her and, a partner to this thing. And so we're in a room full of very, very wealthy, very, very high up lawyers who do actually know what they're talking about, right? And I believe we've touched on this before, but we had a strategy where we didn't want to be the people that looked at the paintings for the least amount of time.
Yeah, how long do you look at a painting?
We've spoken about this, right?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, right. Similar thing. So then actually having participated in a sort of exhibition / art sale thing, art auction thing, I started to actually see other people doing this in a very purposeful way, particularly because we were all their colleagues as well.
Right.
And so nobody wanted to just kind of be like, that's all right, and then moving on kind of thing. So everybody would stop and talk, because we were sort of asked to stand by our pieces for sort of an hour or so while everyone bidded kind of thing. And then people whatever. Like, they would just come up and they would spend 10 minutes talking to you about your piece because they didn't want to seem rude, kind of thing. And then they'd walk off. And there was just this whole weird thing going on in there, man. It was interesting.
It's interesting. I find it interesting that, we are impressed by speed readers. If you can read something really quick, that's really impressive.
So why aren't we impressed by speed art interpreters?
Yeah, why can't you just have someone like pelting down a gallery corridor, just like looking at art?
Yeah, it's just like they cock their head 90 degrees, they run past the painting sort of in parallel, and they scan it left to right.
Full sprint, and they get out and they go, time, 3 minutes. Yeah, that was the best.
I saw every painting in that gallery in 3 minutes. Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's impressive, man. I don't know. Why do you need to... I don't know. How long do you need to look at art? Why am I zoomed in now?
I believe someone has remoted into this machine and is playing with the settings.
Okay, all right. So, I don't know.
This show's going really interestingly today, isn't it?
He says, is it Russian hackers? Are we being hacked?
No, hang on. I see a name next to the mouse pointer.
There's a name next to the mouse.
I'm not going to say who it is, but we know who it is.
Okay, so someone has remoted into the show.
While the show was going, this is live tech support. This is live tech support on our show. I just noticed this computer over here doing stuff. I was like, what is going on?
Well, I apologise to anyone who's watching who is seeing me a little closer than they would like.
It was brief. It was brief. It should be fixed now. It looks good now.
Okay.
Anyway, boy, they're really making it hard for us today. First the lights, then that.
Yes, but speed art. I'd like to see that. Why?
Well, speed art interpretation.
What do you mean?
Or even speed art creation?
No, just viewing. Speed art viewing.
Yeah, speed art viewing,
Yeah. Just
so not even like interpreting the art, literally just looking at it quickly.
Looking at it. I mean... How much interpretation?
Theoretically, that's not difficult, right? As long as you just blink at it, you can just move on.
It's really all about the running. That's what I want to see people running.
Cutting a perfect path through a gallery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Planning the best route through the gallery.
Bull in a china shop.
Yes.
Anyway, that's probably all I've got on that one.
That's probably all I got on that one as well.
Here.
Here.
What do you got for us?
Item number 2.
Item number 2 on the hidden agenda.
I've been thinking lately, there's like, every now and then you'll see something on the internet that says, here's an album or a movie, and this, Bob did this, and then in brackets, uncredited.
Yes.
There's a lot of roles that are going around uncredited.
Yes.
And I'm like, you can't say someone did something and then say it's not got credit. By saying that Bob did it, you're giving Bob credit.
Well, Well, hang on. Not in the actual credits.
No, but that's only one place you can give credit.
But when they say uncredited, they don't mean they weren't given credit. They only mean quite specifically that they don't appear in the credits.
So then they don't have credit.
No, they don't appear in the credits for the film, for example.
Yeah.
Right? So, and hence uncredited. That's because you're right. There's a paradox there, right? When they say so-and-so uncredited, they've just given credit.
They have.
Right. On something like IMDb or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all that uncredited, I've always understood it to mean is that their role wasn't significant enough to end up in the actual credits of the film. Not to say that they're not given any credit for their role.
But, I mean, yes, you're right, but...
It's tenuous, though, I agree.
To say, then, that Bob did this... I mean, you could, if I wrote a page on IMDb, I said, The Mask, and I said, Jim Carrey played The Mask, and you could go, well, where's that citation? It's here in the credits.
Sure.
Bob played this uncredited. Where's the citation? There is none. Get rid of it.
So you're saying people could literally just be making
I'm saying
things up.
If they're uncredited, then they don't get
Don't
credit.
mention them anywhere.
Yes. They're uncredited.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
To me, it's like making an anonymous donation and then going around telling everyone...
I made this anonymous
donation. Like, well, you can't have it both ways, really.
No.
I mean, this was explored in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Righto.
But yeah, like if you've made an anonymous donation,
you're anonymous.
You're anonymous. You can't then go and be anonymous.
Here's the thing, right? If you make an anonymous donation, and as far as the general public is concerned, some sum of money has come in. We don't know who from.
Yes.
But you tell your friends. Is that still an anonymous donation?
No, not really.
No?
Because then those friends can tell other friends, and then it ends up on a website. Donation from Joe Blogs, anonymous. Like, it's not anonymous anymore. Joe Blogs.
Yeah, true. So then you'd have to. So not only could you not tell it, it's just you can't. If you tell anyone ever, so what would be the point of Wait, that's quite a horrible thing to say, actually.
The point would be helping.
The point would be helping. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yes. Well, because look, it's very rare that somebody. So small donations. People generally, they're happy to make them and they feel good about themselves, right?
Yeah.
But you'll notice that when people start making bigger donations, there's a lot of like, check me out, guys, I just made this big donation.
That is correct.
And you can't really hold that against them, right?
No, I can.
You can personally, but you can't just be out and go like, yeah, it's all very well he donated $25 million to cancer research, but get a load of this guy.
Oh, sorry.
Right?
If he's not... Yeah, so this is an anonymous donation, you're saying?
Yeah, no, so this is just a normal donation.
This is a normal donation.
Yeah. So,
fine.
Right, and so publicly, you can't have a problem with this person for having made a huge donation and telling the world,
No,
right?
I got no problem with that.
Do you have no problem with that? Or is it the fact that you can't have a problem with that, though? Because personally, like, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it either, right?
Right.
But you make a big donation, then you tell everyone because you're kind of hoping people will like you more, right?
Yeah, well...
To some extent, you're collecting social capital from this donation. You definitely are.
You are, and
Yeah.
I don't begrudge anyone from doing that. I begrudge people from making an anonymous donation.
And then blowing the lid on it.
And then having people, do you know that, Bill Gates made this anonymous donation? Well, it's not anonymous anymore.
But it's kind of, it can also be quite insidious, though, can't it? Because you can make the anonymous donation and then start a rumour.
Well, this is the thing.
But then that can't be verified.
It can't. And I'm saying neither can these uncredited roles.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
they're up for the taking.
Oh.
Credit is just... We can grab some credit.
So what we're not saying is go to the IMDb pages of your favourite movies and give yourself uncredited credit for something.
Well, they'll most likely already be uncreditedly credited to someone else. But that doesn't mean you can't also...
You couldn't add another one.
Make a stake on that credit.
Yeah.
And that's the whole
Claim
point.
it.
Yeah. Who's going to stop you?
Nobody. Well, how can they?
Well, so I was thinking, the voiceover for Arrested Development?
Yeah.
You know who did that?
No.
Well, I did that.
Is that right?
That's right.
Doesn't sound much like you.
It didn't. I was putting on a voice.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
an accent.
If you look at websites, it'll say Ron Howard, but it'll also say uncredited.
It could be anyone.
So what that really means is, it could be anyone.
It could just be absolutely anyone.
I mean, to say Ron Howard uncredited is just as accurate as to say Tony Berstling uncredited.
Yeah.
I am not credited for that role. Neither is Ron Howard.
No, neither is Ron Howard, I guess. So I suppose it could be anybody.
Yes.
Never mind that it sounds like Ron Howard. And if you ask Ron Howard, he'd probably tell you he did it.
Yeah, but I'm telling you I did it as well.
And if you ask the producers who did it, they'd probably say Ron Howard.
Well, it's all a power play and it's all politics and everything.
Basically, like, look, when there's uncredited credit, there are ways of finding out. You're kind of banking on the fact that nobody's going to bother.
But, sure, there are
What you
ways.
do-
But I'm saying that even if you did find out, there's nothing you can do about it because it's uncredited.
Go back and start taking credit for things where everybody involved is dead.
Well, I was about to do that, actually.
Yeah. The problem with that, of course, is that you should probably be dead as well.
Have you heard of Stonehenge? Do you know who did...
This is your prehistory thing all over again.
Do you know who did Stonehenge?
Was it you?
Yes.
Wow, dude.
Uncredited.
How did you carry those stones?
I don't want to reveal my secrets. It was tiring work, though.
Yeah.
And
did you also make an anonymous donation at the time?
No, I didn't.
All right.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, okay.
But Cat Stevens' "Morning Has Broken."
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful song.
Who? Yeah.
The piano playing.
Yeah, was that you?
That was me.
Unbelievable, dude.
I played the piano on that. If you look up the album sleeve, you won't see credit for me there. It's uncredited, but it is basically me.
Honestly, I'm more amazed at how good you look for being sort of 6,000 years old.
Well, that's what a lifetime of not taking credit does that for you.
It's because it's the credit that's the burden.
You look at, Bill Gates has taken a lot of credit, and he looks old.
Yeah, it's really the credit that takes it out of you. It's not the toil and the suffering.
No, it's the credit that really ages you.
Yeah. It's when someone says like, Tony made this operating system, you just start withering away.
Exactly.
You do all the work, no worries. When someone says like, hey, Tony made this, that's it.
Yes. And
so basically what you're saying is that if somebody manages to dig up proof that you built Stonehenge, you'll instantly die.
It wouldn't be good. But even if they did, I'm uncredited. Even if you showed me...
But what if they then credit you for it?
They can't. It's too late.
Well...
Can
they
you
could just go and carve built by Tony Besselink on the side of Stonehenge.
I think that... But that's... I'll just say
that
that's
probably
slander.
violates
but I don't
some
think
treaties.
once you're uncredited, once a role is uncredited, I don't think it can be credited again, can it?
Surely it can.
How can you credit? Like,
well, I mean, have you heard of a director's cut?
But if you can credit something again, then get rid of uncredited in brackets.
Actually, I wonder if that's ever been a thing where the credits have changed. Oh, because they would have for post-production, like director's cuts and things like that that come out years after.
Yeah, but you could say that's a different work or whatever.
I guess. But what if? Let's say you release, you have some film, you make the theatrical release, whatever. There's some extra that's not credited. Mm-hmm. You then, 6 months, 12 months on track, whatever. You do the director's cut. Right? And it doesn't require any additional work. It's just the director cutting together his vision for the film. Mm-hmm. Right? But you then put that person in the credits for something. They haven't been involved again for this director's cut, but you credited them for the role they had in the theatrical cut. What happens there? That's credited after uncredited.
I would say that the original release, they were uncredited.
Oh, so
that's still up for grabs.
There's a precedence. Okay. Oh,
and the new
right.
release...
So it was you in the theatrical release, but the person credited in director's cut.
Well, you can't dispute a credit. That's what credit
that's
is.
True, yeah.
If someone
indisputable fact.
Yes.
Yes.
But if it's uncredited, it's up for grabs.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the works of Banksy.
Yes.
Me.
All you, huh?
All me.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Speaking of Banksy, we've got to go to our station IDs in a second. But speaking of Banksy, did you see that thing? I think it was fairly recently, maybe in the last couple of years. Someone, there was a print, like an actual, so he didn't do a street art, he did an actual canvas print of something. It was verified to be him, but of course, they don't know who he is and whatever.
Well, I'm telling you now, he's me.
He's you. But the thing is, he made this print, framed it and everything, and just kind of put it out into the private market, right? But it had concealed in the bottom of a frame.
I know.
You've seen this, the paper shredder.
I put the shredder
you
there.
You put the shredder there. And so then as soon as it went to auction, it got sold for £1.2 million or something. And so the gavel comes down, and you just see this print come out the bottom of the frame in slices.
Mm. I know. I was pretty good that day.
That's a mean trick.
Tooting my own horn, but
you really think quite highly of yourself, don't you?
Well, when you're one of the greatest artists
of all time,
of the last 6,000 years. This show.
Yeah.
You know who does my part?
You,
Matt Damon.
Wow.
Uncredited.
Anyway, I think we should move on.
Yeah, all right.
I feel like it's good. It's starting to wear a bit thin.
Well, I'm not taking credit for that.
All right. We'll go on to our station IDs and we'll be back. We'll be back in 15 seconds.
How is that possible?
How's what possible?
How is the station IDs, 7.5 seconds each?
Well, one is 16 and the other is 9.
Wait,
seconds.
16 and 9? How did you said?
That's 25.
Oh, you said 15.
Did I say 15?
I thought you said 15.
I meant 25.
Okay, well, that's a little more tolerable.
Yeah. All right, back in a sec.
Fresh Radio. Η καλύτερη ραδιοφωνική συντροφιά στο σπίτι, στη δουλειά και φυσικά στο αυτοκίνητο. Fresh Radio. Γιατί απλά δεν μπορείς να αντισταθείς. Η ραδιοφωνική καρδιά της πόλης χτυπά μόνο εδώ. Stay fresh.
Oh, I just caught that one. It almost went on to the next song. The mouse froze briefly, and I had to fight with it to get it back in the last second.
Yeah. You sure it wasn't whoever got into the computer, get rid of these guys?
I have no idea what's going on. This has been an interesting show. We've had live tech support. We've had brownout. We've had everything.
That's true.
On this show.
And we've distributed credit where credit is deserved.
Undue.
Yes.
Or due and undue.
Due.
Also, I have to say, though, based on your previous bit about it's the credit that ages you, you gave yourself credit for Stonehenge.
Yes.
You should be shuffling off this mortal coil
No,
but
right? It's the dichotomy of being uncredited and also saying it's me.
Ah, right. Okay.
My claims to these uncredited roles are just as valid as any other claim to an uncredited role.
Right. Whereas
Is what I'm saying.
someone who is uncredited, who actually does the work, then ages when they're credited.
No, I don't remember what I said about that.
Okay.
I'm just taking credit for Stonehenge.
All right. Look,
Did you see it 6,000 years ago?
I didn't.
No, it may have only been there since the 70s.
I think there's probably more than one verifiable source that it's been there at least since before the 70s.
Yeah, I'm still taking credit for it.
Yeah, okay. Shall we move on to item number 3?
Item number 3. Here for that last one.
Here for that. Yeah, we always forget at least one.
I think it's the one going into the station IDs.
Usually, because we're usually a few minutes over time. So I'm gonna do a topic which I think is a little bit of it'll be one of those classic topics, almost the kind of topic that I maybe shouldn't bother bringing onto the show. But Is this you in the bathroom again? No. Oh, I could be, but it's not. It could very well be, but it isn't for the moment. No, it's okay. So, when you either work in a fairly big company or you participate in some kind of social event which has, let's say more than 50 or 100 people being involved, or, user groups, for example, where there'll be 50, 100 people listening to a lecture or whatever. You kind of know everybody in a very sort of surface way, in the sense that you'll recognize their face, you'll probably remember their name, that kind of thing. What I can't get over is the fact that I've lost count of the times I've had the exact same conversation with the exact same people in my life. People that you interact with on a less than bi-weekly basis. Everybody has a slightly different one. They tend to have themes, but you just have the same conversation over and over again. And critically, everybody just seems kind of okay with having that same conversation over and over because neither of you can think of what else to say to each other because you don't know each other well enough.
Yes.
So this is the guy or the girl that you run into once or twice a month and you talk about the weather.
Yeah, the weather.
Every time, right? Or you know some little thing about them, so you talk about that. So, how are your kids? Yeah.
Or like, I'm thinking of buying a horse. Oh, yeah. Then,
have you bought that horse yet?
You bought that horse yet? Yeah. How's the horse going?
How's the horse going? Or,
Horse settled in?
Yeah, exactly. How's the puppy doing? Is he going outside now to do his business, or is he still doing... Like, you're just having the same conversation over and over and over. To the point where it gets frankly ridiculous. Like, frankly ridiculous. Like, in that example of the horse, for example, if someone were to say to you that they bought a horse, 3 years down the track, are you still asking them how the horse is going?
Well, it depends.
Well, you have to, right? Because you don't know anything else about them.
Yeah, if I'm stuck in a conversation with them, it's better than uncomfortable silence.
Is it, though?
Uncomfortable silence is never comfortable.
See, but I can tank uncomfortable silence. I can do uncomfortable silence. In fact, I've used uncomfortable silence to exit conversations before. Yeah,
I always feel like uncomfortable silence is a failing on my part. Like,
but why can't it be their fault as well?
Well, it kind of is, but...
See, because this is a problem I've had historically, is that I feel obliged to carry a conversation if it's not going well.
Right.
Do you feel the same way? Or did you at some point feel... I don't anymore. I don't care now.
So...
I don't give a rat's whether someone's uncomfortable with the silence. I'm saying my piece now.
Well, that's quite freeing of you.
Yeah, and it's wonderful.
See, I feel like I could only do that if I verbally sort of said, we cool just being quiet. And if they said, yep, then I'd be like, cool.
Well, hang on. You're talking about a situation where you're forced to be there. I'm talking more of a situation where... we hit the uncomfortable silence and I go, sweet, that's my cue to get the hell out of here. Right?
Right.
But remorselessly, utterly remorselessly. Whether it's me or them that drove us into the uncomfortable silence, I'm out.
But what, yeah. Well, I would agree with that.
Yeah? You're cool with that?
If you're forced into it.
Yeah.
Like if if you're on the train together or something and you...
Oh my God, that just reminded the amount... There were a handful of people that, when I worked at the same place as you, there were a handful of people that caught the same train as me. And I was on this train for 50 minutes minimum, right? I went 3/4 of the way down the line at this point in my life. And there were 3 or 4 people that I knew caught the same train. And I would actually... quite seriously, either, if I had to leave, I would wait for them to leave first and leave 10 minutes later, so I'd be on the train after them, if I happened to see them leaving, or I'd leave 10 minutes before 5 so that I knew they weren't leaving at the same time as me. Because a couple of times I got stuck on the train. There was one guy, and I hope he's not listening, because he's going to know who he is, but I don't work there anymore, so I don't care. But I had to hack 3 whole conversations about the bloody Google Home speaker mesh network that he set up in his house so that he can listen to music in any room in his house. I had to hear that 3 times, Tony.
Why 3 times?
Because I got stuck on the train with him 3 days in a row, and he decided, with no prompt from me, he decided to tell me all about his, almost said a bad word, Google Home speaker NSA spy botnet network that he set up in his house.
So you didn't say, how's the Google mesh system going?
I didn't say that, no, because you know what? I didn't want to hear about it. And the thing is, there's 12 carriages on these trains, and somehow this guy would always, because he'd always walk in after me, and he'd always walk into the same carriage every single time. Every single time I caught the 5:14, he would just happen to walk in straight after me in the same carriage.
Right.
And I would have strategy. I'd try go to the other end of the platform. He'd just decide to do the same on the same day. Obviously, I don't know this for a fact, right? Because I got caught on the same train with him a handful of times. But it just felt like it.
But see, that's, I guess, a little... If he's offering up conversation, yeah, it can be tedious. But it's not a awkward silence. Like, it's not... An awkward silence, you have to take some ownership of the awkward silence.
I didn't...
Boring conversation, you can sort of say, well, this isn't my fault. I'm stuck in a boring conversation.
Well, yeah, sure. Except I you know, the 40 or so minutes he'd spend telling me about this, I'd be lucky to utter 3 or 4 words.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying they're different problems. I feel differently about the things.
Look, put it this way, right? If you were talking to somebody that you knew casually, right? And after literally 40 minutes...
That's a test.
Right?
That's a real test.
If after 40 minutes they had said all of 3 words, would you have realized by that point that they're probably not interested in what you're saying to them?
But again, maybe it's this awkward silence. Like, they feel responsible for the awkward silence.
No, but isn't the polite thing to do to realize after a couple of minutes they're clearly not invested in this? I'm just going to say, like, hey, you know, it was nice talking to you. I'm just going to listen to an audiobook or something, anything. There are so many good ways to extricate yourself from that situation. It's worse being the person subjecting somebody to a conversation they clearly don't want to have, right? But you should have the self-awareness by the time you're this guy's age, right? Right? To be like, hey, this person thinks I'm boring as hell. I'm going to go do something else for a while.
Yeah.
There's a basic level of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Isn't there?
You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Awkward silences wouldn't happen, right, if half the adults weren't children.
Well, the awkward silence comes about because at least one party feels that the silence is problematic.
Yes.
And this is why you just go, we're cool being silent? Yeah.
Tony, if you're in a position where you're in an uncomfortable silence, an awkward silence, right, you feel it, you're thinking, you know that they're feeling it as well. The only thing anybody wants to do is for somebody to step in and end it, right?
What you mean?
So this sense, you're saying that the other person might carry on because they feel uncomfortable with creating an awkward silence.
Yes.
If you're at the point where you feel like you're uncomfortable creating an awkward silence, trust me, the best thing you can do is to say to the other person, hey, nice talking to you, I'm going to go do something else. That person will never, ever think you're being rude. Not even once in a million will that person think you're being rude. The only thing they're going to do is wait for you to turn around and then sigh audibly.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I don't think so. But it just, it's a lot to unpack.
Is it? I don't think it's that complicated. This is why I just bulldozer into conversations now. I just say my bit and whatever anyone says, and then I'm out. Right? Then I just leave. there are a few situations.
You're like a conversation assassin.
I'm yes, it's a conversation blitzkrieg, what I do.
You just run in, blah, blah, blah.
Look,
I bought a horse on the weekend. All right, I'm out.
Yeah, particularly when I'm in like a meeting, for example. I go in there, I say what I need to say, I field the questions I need to field, and that's it. That's all that... Why did this turn off? No, we're good. And that's all that I do, right? And if then... Now, with meetings, it's a little bit different, because obviously there's an agenda. But then the after meeting, when someone corners you to ask you a few more questions and whatever, All right, if that starts getting a bit weird, hey man, look, I'm just going to get back to work. If you think of any more questions, just fire me an email or something like that. I'll get back to you when I can. I'm just a little bit busy. That's it. Walk away. Get out of the conversation, right? Because they know that you can't answer them, particularly if you can't answer them right then. Because that tends to be the bad one at work, right? Because nobody wants to be like, well, I don't know, right? Nobody wants to do that. I do it. I'm at the point in my career now where I'm comfortable just being like, hey, sorry, can't answer that right now. I'll find out for you and get back to you, right? So many people can't do that at all.
They just stumble through.
They just stumble. They'll even lie, right? They'll even lie.
Don't lie.
Don't lie, right? But they'll even lie to get through that situation. Just, I don't know, man. I'll find out for you. And I'll let you know later. Done. Awkward silence completely mitigated, completely avoided. Everybody's happier. They're not in a situation where they're trying to dumb down their question in the vain hope that I can actually answer it. I'm out of the situation where I'm stumbling trying to figure out what to say to them. Everybody's happy. Everybody's doing better. That's all this bit is be self-aware when you're subjecting someone to a conversation rather than having one with them.
Look, it's sensible advice.
Yeah.
I can't dispute the advice.
Good. I was hoping you wouldn't.
Is there a way, though?
Yeah.
And this is the thing, like, you know, there's sensible advice, like don't delete all the files off your hard drive.
Yeah.
That's sensible advice.
It's quite good advice.
But then you go, all right, let's actually make this really difficult to do that.
Yeah.
Even though it's sensible advice.
Yeah, true.
So is there... And I think we just need to be more comfortable signposting.
On discomfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%, yeah.
Even if you had like several beanies, green beanie, receptive to conversation, red beanie, I've had enough now.
You laugh, but there's a system called traffic lights, which some people use where I work. They have a little, so they've got 3 little like boxes that sit on top of their monitors. There's a red one, an amber one, and a green one, and they put it on top of the monitor. And green means go ahead. Yellow means only if it's important. Red means piss off.
Right.
Right? And you'll be walking around and you'll see, like, you know, some red flags, some yellow flags, some green flags, whatever. And they have this whole social contract where we understand that it's a little bit rude, but if I'm really busy and I can't talk to you, I'm doing this for your good, not mine, right? Because if you come and sit down to me when I'm busy, I'm going to feel compelled to help you. But I'm super busy and I got things to do, kind of thing. So they literally have red, yellow, green on top of their monitors.
Right.
To determine
do people abuse that? Like, do they just stick a red up there? Like, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Well, this is the thing: is they have they have an understanding that they shouldn't do that, but there's no hard rule, right? Somebody could just put red light on their monitor and leave it there all week if they wanted to. You would probably be seen as something of a lone wolf, or not quite a team player, if you were to do that. But that's the risk you can take, right? Basically, they're leaving it up to you whether you want to seem like an arse or not.
Right.
And incidentally, arse, generally not considered a swear word. Hole, generally not considered a swear word. When you put them together, though...
On American TV, they bleep the hole.
Yeah, what's with that?
I don't know. The arse goes through fine, but then the hole is bleeped.
You know what I noticed something about American TV, like in the 70s and the 80s?
What?
So you couldn't say... you couldn't even say damn, let alone goddamn, right? But they were never consistent on which part they'd bleep. Sometimes they'd bleep the God, and other times they'd bleep the damn.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, that's tangent.
So it's kind of like putting together Wilson's face from Home Improvement from what you could see. We saw the top half of his face there. There's the bottom half of his face. We can match that up. God damn!
Anyway, I don't have a whole lot else to say on that.
No, I don't either.
All right, here on that one.
Here.
What do you got? Item number 4.
This is another entry in the series of shouldn't I know that by now at this age?
I like this series.
Like what we talked about, the Reserve Bank.
The Reserve
it's
Bank.
Not really a bank.
We spoke about
eggs
in our first live episode. Where do eggs come from?
Today I want to discuss royal commissions. And is that just another word for serious report?
I think so.
Are we, like, what?
I think that's the case.
It's just a cool-sounding word, like, royal commission. The royals are coming in to commission what we're doing.
Well,
Are they?
It's an investigation. It's an investigation into a matter on behalf of the crown, right?
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Theoretically, because the highest level of government is still the monarch, right?
Yeah.
And so everything is, like, for example, when you get a British passport, it's bequeathed you by the Queen herself, kind of thing, and things like that. The Queen doesn't have a passport because she can't give herself a passport. She just gets travel because she goes, I'm the Queen, right?
Same with get a passport from the previous king or queen?
Well, I presume before she was the Queen, yes. Same thing with driver's licenses in the United Kingdom. She doesn't need one because legally the Queen has to give you the right to drive. So she can do what she wants. Right? But you're only allowed to drive if the Queen says you can.
So the Queen told her husband recently, no, you cannot drive anymore.
Yeah, after he crashed that Range Rover.
Yes.
Yeah. Probably. He would have a license given to him by her.
Right.
Yeah.
And she said, no, taking that away.
Well, what was the example you just brought up? I've already forgotten.
What, the Royal Commission?
Oh, the Royal Commission, yeah. Well, this is the thing. You hear Royal Commission, you hear lots of stuff about the Crown, right? That's meaningless to me, right? Or the only thing I know about the Crown is that it's on the back of our coins and on some of our money. Or actually all of our money, come to think of it.
Yeah.
I always forget that one side of the money all just has the Queen on it. But that's it. Otherwise, it's completely meaningless to me. The only people that can explain to you what Royal Commissions and Crown Courts and blah, blah, blah means is lawyers.
But to me, it just seems like a cool... I reckon it's just a cool word that people like...
Do you think it's a holdout because it sounds really serious?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's just... Like, you could get rid of Royal Commission and say serious report. We're doing a serious report into the bushfires.
What do the Americans...
We're doing a serious report into wage growth.
The Americans just call it a special investigation, right?
I don't know what the Americans call
sure
it. They don't have a Royal Commission.
No, of course they don't have a Royal Commission. The Mueller report I think it was just called a special investigation.
Isn't it
something like that?
Wasn't it just Mueller who went off and did a report?
They had a name for it. They had a cool sounding name. It was nowhere near as cool as Royal Commission.
Okay, I thought it was just the Mueller report. I thought this guy just went, I'm doing a report.
That's what it's called in common parlance. But it had an official, legal definition kind of thing. There was a legal precedent for his investigation.
And it wasn't as cool sounding as Royal Commission?
No, not even close. Okay. Not even close. Come to think of it, I've been thinking of a few things that I ought to know but don't. And I realized something just on the way here today.
Yeah?
I am still utterly confused by when somebody says there was 300% more of X.
Yes.
Because that's 4 times more? Because when they say 100% more, that's twice as much. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you have 1, and then the next day you have 2, that's 100% more.
Well, it depends. You got to be careful with the words here.
Yeah.
So 100% more is equivalent to 200% growth.
Right, exactly. So that's exactly right.
So the words are it's not just the number, but you got to be careful of the words.
But they're so unclear with that wording that I never know what it means. Like you've got some chickens. Today they lay 2 eggs. Tomorrow they lay 4. Your yield was 100% higher the second day, right?
Yeah. Yes. The way the word higher indicates.
Right.
Yes.
Your yield was 100% higher.
Yes.
However, it was 200% of the previous day's yield?
Yes.
Right. And how does that work if the previous day's yield was 0?
Well, then it doesn't.
Because then it would be infinity% more.
Yes.
Right. And yet somehow they still tend to bandy these phrases around in a way that's complete nonsense.
Yes. Do you want me to kick off a Royal Commission into how this is being used?
Please do.
I will see if I can get a hold of... Who decides who has a Royal Commission? Is it the Prime Minister?
Government. Yes.
So he goes...
It's an act of Parliament? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
But he just kicks off Royal Commissions.
Exactly. All I know is that every now and then some crazy stuff happens and then the government goes, look, this really ought not to have happened. Right?
Yeah.
We should get the Queen involved somehow.
Can you investigate what happened here? It's not going to cut it.
Look, people aren't being paid correct. Somebody call the Queen. Oh, here we go. I've got a couple of comments relating to this.
Good.
Someone says Queen also doesn't need rego plates on her cars.
Well, but, I mean, that kind of works, because if you see a car going... If I see a crime and there's a car speeding away without rego plates, I'm like, that was the Queen.
Yeah.
The Queen clearly committed that crime.
Clearly committed that crime.
I don't... Because she's the only one who doesn't need rego plates.
He also said, I presume in response to our trying to figure out the percentage thing, just says, that's not how numbers work. And then makes the interesting comment, what about 24/7? I call bullshite. That's not quite what it says, but you know what I mean.
What's wrong with 24/7? Is he saying like it's incorrect with leap seconds and
Possibly. Also, the fact that it just looks like 24 divided by 7, maybe. But I don't know. If you're listening actively, please follow up on that comment, and we'll get to it.
yeah,
I can't think of
the
anything wrong.
slash? It's not a mathematical notation.
Apparently, same person. Royal permissions are called by federal or state government, so government.
Right.
We got that bit right.
But
I don't think they have to call the Queen though.
So, but like, facts are facts.
Right.
But one way of gathering facts involves waking the Queen up. And another way of gathering facts, just a bog standard investigation, involves not waking the Queen up.
That's right.
Why do we have a royal commission?
Well, what is the Queen contributing to the commission?
I don't know if she's doing anything.
I don't think so either. I think they're just on behalf of her, right?
If it was the Queen calling up ScoMo going, what the bloody hell is going on? You better get me some answers.
That's a royal commission.
That's a royal commission.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's his constituents going, this is really bad, you better get some answers. Just an investigation will do.
Just investigate.
Investigate. Find out.
We got the follow-up to the 24/7 comment. He says, who works 24/7, don't sleep, or don't they sleep? I don't think that's the point.
No one says... Who says they work 24/7?
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, with shops and stuff that are open 24/7, but there's shifts.
There's shops.
It's well understood that there's shifts and that people tend to work... Oh, yeah, no, sorry.
No, I don't.
Can't help you with that one. Yeah, no, royal commissions.
Royal commissions.
Definitely feel like we should know how they work. The only thing I know about them is that they're started by the government,
the government starts
which was
them.
backed up by this person here.
Something bad happens, the government goes, royal commission.
Yeah, but beyond that...
Cancel that investigation.
What powers does it have? How is it that a normal commission can't get the facts a royal commission can?
Yes.
You know, like... Because I seem to recall that you're not allowed to refuse to testify in front of a royal commission. Whereas in every other case, you can refuse to testify.
Right.
Now, of course, you can sit down and just say no comment for every single question, but you're not allowed to refuse to go up.
Okay. And then people can yell, just answer the
Just
question!
answer the question! Yeah.
This is a royal commission!
Yeah, right. So he's followed up, incidentally, on this idea that people who give 150%, and he's right on that one. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, putting in an additional amount of effort, it's not possible to go over the amount of effort you could possibly give.
Yes.
Right. So the
But
idea
it is
of
possible
giving...
for things to grow beyond...
Yes.
I actually don't like using percentages for growth. I always...
No, me neither.
Yeah.
I just like using hard, numbers kind of thing. Just like it is 10 times as much. It is
doubled.
15. It doubled.
Tripled.
It quadrupled. Yeah, exactly. This relative percentage stuff does my head in.
Yes. No, I agree. But, my bottom line is rename the Royal Commission a serious report.
The serious report.
Serious report.
The very serious investigation and report into X.
Yes. I'm serious now, guys. We're getting answers.
The previous commission wasn't taking it seriously, but their answers, not up to scratch. Now, serious commission.
Serious times.
Serious, proper investigation where people can't refuse to come and tell us.
Cut the jokes of that silly investigation.
Enough screwing around. Somebody get the Queen on the phone. We need to sort this out.
We need to sort this out. And if you're listening, Your Majesty, thank you.
That's a stretch if I ever heard one. That's a real stretch if I ever heard one, Tony. I tell you, if the Queen ever listens to this show, and I promise you this, I will eat my shoes if the Queen ever listens to this show.
Yeah.
And I am very confident that I will never have to eat my shoes.
Wow. What if someone blasted at her with a boombox while she's...
No, she has to choose to listen to it. Come on.
You're lucky you
There's a difference between listening and hearing. There is.
Yeah.
There is. And I use the word listen, not hear.
Okay.
We can have a royal commission into this if you want. But I'm saying I said listen, and listening and hearing, two very different things.
Do you reckon a royal commission is like hard rubbish and you only get like 6 a year? It's like, no, don't waste a royal commission on that. We only got 2 royal commissions left for the year.
The Queen just sends some vouchers to the state governments at the beginning of every year. Here's your royal commissions for the year.
Yeah, no.
Don't call me more than these many times.
Just do a bog standard report. We don't need a commission on this. It's not... No. You don't want to waste them all.
Oh, God. I'm going to call that one. Here. We're already halfway into the theme song anyway. Have we got any other business?
I got no other business.
You know what? I probably should have checked before the show. Let's see if we've got any correspondence.
Probably George, I'm guessing.
I'm almost certainly. This is good radio right here. No, actually. Oh, we got a follow up on our administrator stuff. You know how we were talking about who administrates administrators?
Oh!
Yes, this is from another listener. Let's see. Oh, this is an actual serious response. Great discussion about companies going into admin. The reason why Googling is because it's a bit of a strange framework, although the answer is essentially yes. This is because an administrator can be made personally liable if they're unable to recover enough money or run the company in a manner so as to pay the creditors what they are owed. And there's even sources on the email.
Wow, there you go.
So there you go. It's actually a long and boring process, but I think this answers the question of whether an administrator can be administered. Kind of. I'll take it.
Hey, look, and it's not up on Google, so I feel like almost we should put it up on Google.
Yep. Well, I don't know. Should we? Well, can we? Do we have the power to put things on Google?
Yeah, we know how to make websites.
The theme song's run out. What do I do? Start it again? I'm going to start it again.
No. We should just go.
I've got a couple more comments.
Oh, okay.
The Queen never went to school is a comment that I got. Apparently, you know, I feel like if you run shite, you don't have to go to school. I'm going to keep abusing that.
But what if the Normans invade again and she's no longer the Queen? Then she's going to have to pick up a job.
Someone's going to make her go to school. Yeah. I've got the Queen married a Greek who the Greeks exiled. And Lachlan says legal implications for lying, statements under oath, etc. So I'm guessing that had something to do with when we were talking about not being able to not talk to a royal commission.
But that, I mean, what is it about royal that means you can't lie? Why not just have a report that goes, you can't lie on this report?
The non-lying report.
Is it royal? Well, what does that matter? Why does it need to be royal? You shouldn't lie on any report.
All these reports, these are legal documents. You're not supposed to lie.
You shouldn't just be like, pay an extra $20 and unlock no lying for your report.
The no lies DLC.
The no lies commission.
Anyway, I think that's probably it for us today. I've been Thanasi.
I've been Tony.
This has been The Hidden Agenda.
Catch you next week.
Bye-bye.
Peace.